This week, I noticed something at work that has the power to transform your English skills. If you've been feeling like your English isn't growing as fast as you'd like it to be, then I'm sure you're missing one of these three simple strategies that I'll be sharing with you today. Now, before I go any farther, I want to make sure you heard that I said that these three strategies are simple. That means they're not complicated to implement. They are simple, but they may not be easy. Do you want to know what they are? Well, good, because I want to tell you about them. I mean, after all, that's why we're here together, right? I've got a story for you. I've been watching something absolutely amazing happening at my workplace. Just a few weeks ago, we opened a brand new housing facility for seniors. It's got 96 suites, and we're expecting to welcome easily 150 new residents over the next month. In fact, we've already started. Since opening back in mid-June, we're already approaching 50 residents moved in. The place is starting to fill up. Part of my job is running activities and events that help promote the development of relationships and community between our new residents. One of my favorite events is to do regular coffee times. Twice a week, we invite our residents to come down into our comfortable lounge where we serve fresh coffee and treats. The first day that we did it, we barely had enough people to fill up one table. The second day was basically the same, but something cool was starting to happen. Residents were beginning to learn each other's names, and conversations were beginning to flow. They easily began talking about where they were living before, their adventures in getting packed and ready to move to their new spot, and unpacking all over again. Connections were beginning to form. The next time we did it, we needed 2 tables of 6. And the same excited conversations filled the lounge with a happy buzz as strangers began to get to know each other. Now, almost a month since we started, we are up to 4 large tables, and the room is filled with laughter and friendly talking. During our last get together, I met 4 new people who I hadn't met yet, while also getting the opportunity to talk with several people I had met already. Now, I know you're likely thinking, well, that's a nice story, Aaron, but what does a bunch of seniors meeting each other have to do with me and my English, or me and my CELPIP prep? Well, a lot actually. 3 things, at least. There's probably more, but I've got 3 things that I want to share with you today. Here's why I'm talking about this with you. We're talking all about how you can develop your English and CELPIP skills today, right? These 3 points will give you exactly what you need to start making that happen. Or it will help you to realize what you're not doing so you can start doing it. The first point I want to share with you is this: go where the action is. The seniors I told you about could easily have decided to stay up in their suites, too focused on unpacking or trying to get themselves settled. Or they could simply decide that being social was not something that they were wanting to be. And honestly, some do that, by the way. Coming down for coffee and getting to know others is not a mandatory exercise. It's not something that they have to do. It's completely up to the resident. The same is true for you. If you want to see your English skills develop, and I know you do because you're listening to this podcast right now, then you need to make a choice to step out of your house or your apartment or your cubicle at work and go where the conversations and relationships are happening around you. Chances are those opportunities won't come to you. You need to go to them. Likely not very far if you're living here in Canada, but you do need to step outside of your regular habits, your system. If you've been listening to my podcast, if you listened to last week's episode, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I say your system. You need to step out of the system that's not working for you in order to make this happen. But as I just said, you need to step outside of your regular habits and your comfort zone and go where you can use English. So that's the first point. Go where the action is. Number 2, you need to engage. If you're anything like me, Sometimes taking that step of stepping out of your comfort zone and going where the action is a big step. Point number 2, you need to engage. If you're anything like me, sometimes taking that step of actually stepping outside of your comfort zone and going where the action is a big step for you to take. If that's you, I applaud your first step. Way to go. I seriously know how hard that can be to put yourself out there and surround yourself with English speakers while you might not feel very confident about your English skills yourself. But here's the next point I need to share with you. Being where the action isn't enough. You actually need to engage. Today, a few residents brought treats they had made at their apartment to share with anyone who came, while others made a point of writing their names on our optional name tags so that others could talk to them a little bit more easily. And others eagerly greeted newcomers and made a point to get to know them. In short, they're not just being there. They're not just being where the action is. They are actively engaging. They're not stopping with just showing up, like what I just said. They're actively pushing themselves to create connections with those who are there. And maybe you're thinking, well, that's easy. They all speak English. True, not everyone. We've got a few residents who are not native English speakers. One of them is from Ecuador. Another one is from Italy. And another one is from Brazil. But they aren't letting that stop them. But what I really wanted to focus on here with this point is this. While English might be a relatively easy thing for most of our residents, taking the risk of getting to know strangers is not simple for everyone. One lady in particular stands out to me. Today, as I was talking to her in the lobby in the afternoon after the coffee time was all finished, she confessed something to me that I thought was quite amazing. She said that she's so painfully shy that she decided not to share her real name with anyone at the coffee time. She was too scared. She didn't feel safe yet. But you know what? She was still there. She was still brave enough to talk with the two people that were sitting right next to her. I saw her. For me, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know that I'm more of an introvert myself. I don't gravitate towards big events where there are lots of people. In fact, I tend to avoid them. I like nice and small, like 2 or 3 people. So while I'm running these coffee times that I was telling you about, I am still faced with the challenge of engaging too. You'll see me with my coffee mug filled with steaming hot coffee, smiling and talking with folks. But I want to confess something to you, my friend. Many times I'm pushing myself hard to get out of my comfort zone in order to do that. In our last coffee time, for example, the one where we had to push together 4 large tables so that everyone could fit in, I easily connected with the group of people that I had met before. That was fun and easy. But guess what? There was a whole extra table of new people. I realized as I chatted with the people I had already met that I needed to get up and physically move to where the action was. I needed to go where there were new people that I didn't know. I needed to sit down with them, and I needed to strike up a conversation. I had to engage. I couldn't wait for them to come to me, because many don't, simply because they too feel shy. So that's what I did. And that's how I met those 4 new people. The point, maybe English wasn't a big deal for most of these residents, or me, but many, including myself, meeting new people is a big deal. So being where English is happening around you is a great first step. But then you have to actually engage with the people around you in order for something to happen. You need to engage. Don't wait for it to come to you. And here's my third and final point that I think that this story has in store for you. Put in the reps. Building confidence and skill at something requires you to repeatedly try whatever skill it is that you're working to master. My senior friends are great examples of this. With the exception of maybe 1 or 2 people, the same people keep coming down to join us for coffee times. They know that if they want to build friendships in this new building where they've come to live, they need to show up at every event that they possibly can that offers the chance for relationships to happen. And coffee time is one of those events. And you know what? Even though it's only been a short time, their repetition is paying off. Today, even though we had a lot of new people, the atmosphere, the way things felt around us was relaxed and fun. But that relaxed and fun only happened because they showed up and repeated what they had done before. The same is true for you too. Go where the action is. Engage with the people around you and then repeat it in order for you to see your English skills grow stronger. Hey, my friend, I've got a simple and free way that you can use to engage with English on a regular basis. You can subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. What's that? You haven't done that yet? My friend, what are you waiting for? Did I mention that it was free? It is. All you have to do is go to celpipsuccess.com/subscribe, and you can join my newsletter. Every single Tuesday, I publish a new edition where I do a little recap of the podcast and I share more tips and strategies that will help you continue to develop and practice your English and your CELPIP skills. Like I said before, it's totally free. I've made it just for you. So what are you waiting for? Sign up today. Just go to celpipsuccess.com/subscribe. I hope I'll see you in there. Have a great week, and thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.